Fun times.
We good?
All right, we are live.
All right. Hello, everybody. You have Lisa and Ryan here today, and
Cramped in our office.
we're crammed in the office, yes, with 4 dogs. But we're here today to discuss CBD, all about CBD, and really all about the endocannabinoid system and what it is, why it's out of whack, how we get it back under control with CBD and a few other lifestyle things.
Yeah.
So Ryan's going to go into the nitty-gritty details, the science behind the endocannabinoid system, and then dig into our CBD. And then we'll talk about uses, a lot of questions that I know I've received that we'll go through, and then we'll also be able to answer some questions as they come. But if you're going to ask questions, please make sure it pertains to CBD. Those are the ones that we're going to answer today.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about pets as well.
Yeah.
So endocannabinoid system is considered like a large mesh network. It is the largest network of receptors in our body. It's larger than our central nervous system and our peripheral nervous system. So the endocannabinoid system has 3 real main components. There's receptors, there's endocannabinoids, and there's enzymes. So we're going to talk a little bit about receptors because that's kind of really how everything works. The receptors act sort of as a lock and key and become the signaling center once they are activated. So receptors for endocannabinoid system are found in both the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. There are 2 types of cannabinoid receptors. There's cannabinoid type receptor 1 and type 2. Now they're spread out throughout the body, but the central nervous system is the brain and the spinal cord. So in the brain and the spinal cord, you're predominantly going to find CB1 receptors there. Now, the peripheral nervous system is made up of basically all other organs of the body, all other tissues, your connective tissue, your muscle fibers, your other organs, your liver, your kidney, your pancreas, your spleen, everywhere else in the body. But it's a large system. In that system, in the peripheral nervous system, you're going to find a mix of CB1 and CB2. So mostly CB2, but it's going to be a mix. And so those are the primary receptors. Now, the body naturally does produce what they call endocannabinoids. Endo meaning inside, and the cannabinoids are what we're talking about today. So endocannabinoids are produced by the body. There are 2 main endocannabinoids. Now, we'll talk a little bit about how they get thrown out of whack, disrupted, and sort of not in high enough concentration. And then, of course, there's enzymes. So the enzymes are responsible for a lot of heavy lifting. They are what manufacture endocannabinoids. They're also what breaks down endocannabinoids. So we won't focus too much on the enzymes today. We're going to speak mostly on, I'd say, the endocannabinoid system, as well as ways to kind of balance it and restore homeostasis. And that's the word homeostasis kind of implies that there's a balance in the system, a natural balance.
And that goes with everything in our body. We always want to establish homeostasis. And why so many things happen to our bodies is because they lose that homeostasis, they get off balance. Yeah,
well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what causes the endocannabinoid system to have a dysfunction.
Yeah. Okay, well, sure. A lot of it's life. I mean, this goes with everything too, but it's lifestyle. I mean, it's stress, it's smoking, it's excess alcohol, it's lack of movement or exercise, a poor diet. All these things, just as they can throw other of our bodily systems out of whack, all these things can also throw our endocannabinoid system out of whack.
Yeah.
What are some other things? Did I get to know?
Yeah, I think you covered the big ones. You know, you guys may have heard of things like endocrine disrupting chemicals, right? So things like phthalates. That's one that comes to mind for me. It's real common in like plastic water bottles.
Or BPA.
BPA. And those things actually can really disrupt the normal endogenous production of your endocannabinoids. Those are 2. We talked about, like you said, you hit on the big ones: obesity, smoking, excess alcohol, toxins, exposure. You know, that is really where most people get kind of sort of thrown out of whack. Now, it won't just be your endocannabinoid system. It's going to be basically your entire body system, which, depending on the literature that you read and the studies you read, there's a lot of evidence now to suggest that the endocannabinoid system really is the connection, the bridge between brain and body, between the central and the peripheral nervous system, the bridge now. That's really how when I called it a mesh network, it's like you're bringing your different Wi-Fi signals together and kind of making sure they're all communicating well and in balance. That to me is what the endocannabinoid system is responsible for.
Right. And we work so hard to balance our other systems in our body to keep those in homeostasis, but most of us don't ever consider, nor do we know about the endocannabinoid system, and that we have to treat that the same exact way.
Yeah.
And again, that's with, correcting those lifestyle factors, as well as supplementing with CBD, just like as we have to supplement with anything else. So really,
I was going to say that one thing that's interesting is you just said like many people aren't familiar with, and there's a good reason. This wasn't discovered until the 90s. I mean, they've identified CBD. I'm not sure what year it was early on, and THC, I mean, the 60s, but in the 40s, I think maybe CBD, somewhere around there. But the endocannabinoid system really wasn't discovered until like the early 90s. And but since then, I mean, it's been a ton of literature, a ton of studies. A lot of money is going into studying the endocannabinoid system. And look, there's a drug approved on the market now that treats, primarily it's for FDA, but it's for convulsions and seizures.
Right, which is CBD, but just FDA approved.
Yep. Yep. What were you going to say?
Well, I said how we correct it. So I said the lifestyle factors as well as supplementation. Is there any other ways?
I think there's some really solid evidence around nutrition. So specifically on the gut. Were you going to talk about that at all? So if you want to talk about it, the gut-brain balance, because the microbiome. So fermented foods comes in a big time here. So the kimchis, the kefir, the probiotic-based foods. I mean, those are super beneficial in restoring normal endogenous production of like your endocannabinoids.
Right. And we really should be doing all of this with supplementing to really help balance the
supplements becomes part of it.
Right.
Right.
Common uses.
Well, other ways to restore. Hold on though. So like exercise. Let's use exercise. Sorry. Exercise is one where like you have to talk about it because it does help restore the balance, the homeostasis. As a matter of fact, that concept of the runner's high for many years was believed to be some like an opioid thing where like what's it called? The endorphins get kicked up, and anyway, now they're saying it's actually the endocannabinoids that are regulating the runner's high and kind of giving you that second wind and balancing out your cellular, messaging and chemical messaging. So that's kind of cool. I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
So we talked about nutrition. We talked about exercise. Of course, I think that balances it for sure. Healthy body, lean muscle, healthy body weight is a big part of it. Avoiding toxins, right?
Which is impossible, but doing the best you can. I mean, we don't live in a bubble, so unfortunately we're exposed. So you have to just work a little harder at it.
Yeah, exactly. Before we go into talking about LiveGood and the CBD and the oils and the tinctures, why don't we take a few questions? Do we want to do that now, or should we wait till the end and just go through all of them?
Well, let's do a few like common uses, because I feel like that's probably a few questions out there. I know I get that for somebody who's very unfamiliar with CBD, which is fine. That we're here to educate about it. But common uses, a big one is insomnia. It really helps you sleep. It helps your body relax. Anxiety, stress, pain. Pain is a big one. Great to help manage pain without using over-the-counter NSAIDs, which can also wreak havoc on your gut. So that's a big one. The dosing on the bottle, is 2 dropperfuls. It's really 1 to 2 times per day, as you can tolerate. Any side effects?
Oh, we'll get into that. Yeah, let's all right. So let's go into the CBD oil, and then because we're going to roll through that. That's really going to become like a lot. I would say a lot of content. We're almost at 10 minutes after 12. Like we always say, we kind of try to keep these somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes long. So the LiveGood CBD oil is a full spectrum tincture. So what does full spectrum mean? Full spectrum is the first step from a crude, like a raw crude hemp oil. So full spectrum is the least refined. So what does that mean? Why is that so beneficial? Well, it means that you're not going through a further refinement process, which is good. And the next step would be broad spectrum. And then they go all the way down to an isolate, which is basically just pure CBD. Now, something to keep in mind as we're going through this, CBD itself actually does not interact with those receptors that we talked about. All of the other things do, and they create what's called an entourage effect. So we're going to learn about that now. So full spectrum has the flavonoids, which are basically like antioxidants in the plant. You have the terpenes, which are what gives you the flavor and the aroma. They're organic hydrocarbons that are part of the essential oil of the plant. Like an easy example would be like the rind of a citrus, like something like a lemon. Like if you kind of zested off that rind and smell and the aroma that you get, that is That's kind of the essential oil. Those are the terpenes that are flaring out. So when you smell and you taste the terpenes, your body already starts to sort of respond to it. Terpenes are powerful, powerful stuff. It's big. It's a big part of what has been studied. And if you guys want to really get into the weeds on this, Google some of the terpenes and learn about them. They're incredible. Mm-hmm. So having those in the full spectrum, they are not in the broad spectrum for the most part, but terpenes, flavonoids, and of course you have the cannabidiol, which is CBD, cannabidiol. And then you have some of the other minor cannabinoids. So like you'll see CBC, CBG, CBN, there's the CBD acids that somebody was just asking about. Now they'll vary quite a bit based on the plant, based on the cultivation and the harvesting and all that. But that is, in essence, the benefit of full spectrum. Now, with that said, you are going to have some THC. THC, of course, is the psychoactive part of the plant that can cause people to get high. And legal requirement is up to 0.3% THC. So that potentially could fail you on a drug test. We need to make sure people are aware of that. For people that undergo routine drug screening, it's important to know that full spectrum may contain up to 0.3% THC and potentially could cause a negative or a positive drug screen result. I mean, that's unfortunate, but that's the truth. If you actually look at the certificate of analysis, though, like some of the ones we were looking at, you'll see that the actual THC concentration, and this is a very good thing, is so low that it's not even detectable.
And that's at the bottom of our website. If you want to review the certificates of analysis.
Yeah, the certificate of analysis is really an important piece there. So you'll know how much THC is in your product. And if it's lower than detectable limits, you will, I can't say definitively, but you're unlikely to test positive on a drug screen at that point. I mean, it's still stretch at 0.3, but the caution flag has to go out there.
Yeah, it's always just err on the side of caution.
For
it's
sure.
Something, if you're in the law enforcement and you're routinely drug tested, I mean, please.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be responsible for that.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, the terpenes are really what drives the train. I know the miners do, and the CBD, and it's the entourage effect. The entourage effect is considered what synergistic. So the sum is greater than the whole. The sum is greater than the whole of the parts. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. I think that's synergistic. So, but that's really what it is. I mean, the whole idea of this entourage effect is that it kind of it sets up the mesh network to really be optimized for homeostasis. Yeah.
All the goal.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely the goal. So let's talk about strength. Let's talk about dosing.
Okay.
Let's talk about side effects.
Right. So we do have 2 flavors. So this is our peppermint. Both come in 750. Both come in 750 and 1500. The light's killing it.
Yeah.
And then we also have the natural flavor. Same thing. 750, 1500. Yeah. Peppermint flavor obviously tastes like peppermint, and the natural flavor, it's not unflavored. It really just tastes natural. Like a natural. Yeah. You can just taste it, but it's nothing that has a significant flavor. Like I said, 750 and 1500. Why do we have 2 different doses? When somebody is just starting out off with a CBD, we always recommend just starting low. Start with the 750, work your way up. The dosing is 1 dropper full. So when you do open it up, you will see there's little markers. So 1 milliliter is 1 dropper full. And sometimes you have to give it a few extra squeezes to get it up to the 1 milliliter. But that is the dose. So I always say start with the 750 if this is your first time using it, and then increase as needed because it can be used multiple times a day. Is there an upper limit?
No, there's really not. However, CBD can be considered biphasic, which means you could potentially get a different response at low dose as you would at a high dose, not just an amplified dose of what you got at low dose, something very different. Okay. So yeah, you're right on the money though. You start with the 750. So that means 750 milligrams in the whole bottle. And there's 30 milliliters in that bottle. It's 1 ounce. That is 25 milligrams per ml. All right. And there's 30 mLs. So that's your 750 milligrams. Start low, go slow. If you don't know what your dose is, you start low. You can even do a half a dropper full of the 750. And you go slow. You titrate up, and you can kind of find a sweet spot. It is a daily dosing. It's recommended as a daily dosing regimen because, again, you're trying to balance and create and optimize that mesh network. And yeah, I think a bedtime dosing is probably ideal just to start with, or at least later in the day or a time when you're not really expected to do much because somnolence or sleepiness could set in.
Especially if you're new to
it.
CBD.
Yeah, sure. And then the 1500 milligrams is just really twice the concentration. So it's 1,500 milligrams per bottle. That makes it 50 milligrams per milliliter. Obviously, a bit greater bang for the buck, but from a dose titration perspective, you probably would be better suited to start on the low end of 750 and work your way up.
Right. And I always recommend holding it under your tongue for 30 seconds before swallowing. That really helps maximize the absorption.
Yes.
And then quicker as well. So it's like before bed, 30 minutes before bed, just hold it 30 seconds under your tongue.
Yes. Talk about the carrier.
Carrier oil?
Yeah, the MCT.
Yeah. We use MCT oil as our carrier oil that is coconut based. Definitely also had that question a handful of times. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then the pet.
Yeah, we could talk about the pet. Yeah, of course. So we do have a pet.
We have a pet. Little Pets 300. This is chicken flavor. My dogs love it. They take it straight. This is not good. They take it straight. Oh, one of them's open. They take it straight from the dropper because the pet dropper is plastic. So it's very nice that they can go straight from it. So boys, let's see if they'll take some.
Dapper, you want a little drop?
Dapper.
Come here, boy.
I'm not sure if you'll be able to see them, but come here. You can't see them, but they take it. They take it straight.
There it is.
They love it. And but the other dogs, the Brittany's been here, they don't like I don't know why they don't take it straight from the dropper. So I just squirt a little bit of it on their food. I mean, maybe okay.
So I'm gonna tell you guys that I don't think that's a good idea.
Straight from the dropper?
Yeah, because you're introducing bacteria into the product.
Okay, that's true. Whoops.
Yeah, I mean, we want to maintain cleanliness and not sterility, but you want to keep a clean product and as much as you can. So as much as the dogs enjoy it and it's convenient, especially, and I think actually that dropper on the pet is plastic, so that's a good thing that it won't. Yeah, the other ones are glass, but yeah, so that's beneficial for the pets too because they're animals, they're mammals just like us, and our furry friends definitely can benefit from it if they're shy with.
Right.
Yeah.
And same thing with the endocannabinoid system. So we don't have to go into detail about that, but common things for using it for dogs. Let's just say hip dysplasia. So they have discomfort from that. As they get older, I know with one of the Brittany's in here, she wasn't sleeping while we've been watching her. So she was getting up to go to the bathroom, needing to go out, but I started giving her CBD and she sleeps through the night, doesn't have any accidents. She's just sleeping sounder. Anxiety, separation anxiety. Huge one with dogs. We used to have a Ridgeback, had major anxiety. I wish we had this pet CBD then. Car rides. Okay, sometimes I know one of ours is in a car ride. I don't know, they stand the whole time. They're not like relaxing. So I could just help them relax. Thunderstorms, fireworks, all common things that we all kind of deal with dogs. And yes, they're not going to hold it under their tongue, but that's fine. It's just, but again, if you're not going to use the dropper, you can just put a few drops in their bowl or a dropper full in their bowl. And like the other two Brittany's in here, I have to put a little bit of kibble in there and then drizzle it on. So whatever works for your dog. And
one of the reasons why we say under the tongue is just that hopefully you get a little bit better absorption. It's difficult. The CBD is not very well absorbed. One of the reasons why MCT is a superior carrier is because it does increase the solubility and the absorption of CBD. And it's a natural based carrier. So we wanted to go with something that we thought was going to give the best absorption and effectively bioavailability. Yeah.
Did you look at some questions?
Yeah, I will. One thing though to keep in mind. All right. So what are some drug interactions? What are some risks? Who should not start? So the CBD is metabolized by the liver. Like I said, the FDA did approve a drug called Epidiolex. It was approved for convulsions and seizures. And, you can go on and you can read a little bit about it. So obviously, that the literature supports the use of it. And there's a lot of off-label uses for it. Obviously, we just went through a bunch of them, probably sleep, pain, mood, and chronic inflammation, probably being the big ones there. So as far as who should not start, though, liver disease is a problem. If you've got liver disease or you have been told that you have liver disease, definitely don't start unless you have your provider's permission. You want to see your medical provider on that one. For sure. It's metabolized by the liver, and it actually interacts with some of the enzymes in the liver. So there are certain medications, some medications that can interact, it can cause an interaction with. Basically what happens, CBD can, for the most part, slow down the metabolism of certain drugs. So some drugs so what that could mean is that it can increase the concentration of certain drugs. That's an easy Google search. Not everything you read online is true, right? It's not, but you're welcome to check with me, and I can give you an official opinion on whether or not that it does interact with a specific drug. That's really the main caution. I mean, other than that, it would just be like, test it out, see how you feel, and really go from there. It's a rather benign therapy. I mean, it doesn't.
Yes, this will be recorded. This is being recorded, and it'll be put on the YouTube channel. Yes.
Oh, there's one. CBD is also good for children with autism and epileptic spasms. Okay, I think that was a statement. I agree with that. I know there's a lot of literature and a lot of studies supporting that.
Okay, we went over the THC. What time before bed? 30 minutes before you're going to fall asleep. Or I take mine just 30 minutes before I get in bed.
Time to max concentration in the blood is about 2.5 to 5 hours. There's some variability. I'm glad you said that. If you're going to take it with food, take it with food every night or every time you take it. If you're not, then take it on empty stomach. Be consistent with or without food. Obviously, with food is going to minimize the variability. But if that's cool, if you can do it with food, that would be my suggestion. Stay with food.
Two drops. Again, a serving is a dropper full. There's markers on it. 1 milliliter is a dropper.
And each bottle is 30 milliliters, so that's 30 servings per bottle.
Anytime you're going to use any supplement for children, please talk to your child's pediatrician before starting.
Our pediatrician approves of the use.
Okay, there's a lot on the children, but again, same thing. You know, anytime we're discussing with children. Just
for those of you that were asking about the certificate of analysis having an expiration, it should not have had an expiration date. That was a mistake. So they redid the certificate of analysis. There's another one going up on the website. So don't worry about that. The beyond use dating is 2 years, but they have stability beyond 2 years. We wanted to make sure that we stuck it with 2 years from the data manufacturer.
Well, you want to answer this one?
No, that's just having to do with THC. Unfortunately, we chose the full spectrum because we think it offers the most clinical benefit.
Yeah.
So you're always going to have the risk of THC. There may be some other products in the future that we come out with that are more focused on, say, something like sleep, where we won't have any THC in it. But at this time, we don't.
I've had this one before. Does it increase appetite?
No, it actually may decrease appetite. No, one of the side effects is it potentially causes a decrease in appetite.
Patrick, I would love to know if this helps your cat with its seizures. Please let us know. Give us some feedback.
Absolutely.
All right.
We're running 23 minutes after 12.
Water soluble.
I did comment on solubility and absorption. You are correct in that. Yeah.
Okay.
No, and that's one of the reasons why, like we said, MCT scroll. Okay.
So MCT coconut oil based.
Correct. Yeah.
Is it effective to rub the oil on your body?
I mean, sure.
I mean, they make salves, you know.
The salves out of it for sure. I mean, you can use it for that. Yeah.
I use the CBD for my vertigo, and it's amazing. Great hearing.
Vertigo is one frustrating thing to deal with because it's very hard to pinpoint what's going on. Can be anyway. Does
it help with weight loss? Indirectly. I mean, it can lower your appetite, but it's also about keeping your body in homeostasis. So once everything is aligned in our body, things happen quickly. All right.
Yep. All right, guys.
CBD can be taken any time of the day. Yes. Yep. 30 milliliter only at the moment. That's the only size we do have.
Yeah, a couple of drug interaction questions coming in.
Send those.
Yeah, you can send those to me. Or you can just check with your physician or your provider, medical provider, or if you want, you can try Google search and just see what you come up with if you're very, very concerned. And all right.
Yeah,
I think we covered everything. I didn't really have many. Yeah, no. But not addictive, but you should titrate off slowly. Come down off of it slowly if you are going to discontinue it. Don't abruptly discontinue it. That would not be a good idea.
We went over the use.
I feel like we're missing something like big. I can't believe what it is.
Well, if, again, some of these questions are coming in right now that we've already answered. So maybe it looks like a lot of you jumped on late. I know the email was sent out late. So this will be recorded. This is being, is being recorded and will be on our YouTube channel. So you guys can send your friends, family to listen to this.
Yeah, it doesn't overdose. No, we did talk about not really having an upper limit.
We come out with gummies.
Yeah, gummies. I love gummies, but you know how hard it is to make a clean gummy? It's really tough. Really, really tough.
It's just been the challenge at the moment, but not to say we're not working on it.
We're working on it. I'll tell you that for sure. All right, Heather, how do you
mix it in a drink or a smoothie? Yes. Sometimes at nighttime, I put it in tea. I mean, it, again, can't really taste it unless you have the a pharmacist would know better. That's Ryan.
Not sure. Oh, you mean probably for drug interactions? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
100%, Glenda. Thank you. I think that's probably what you mean. A pharmacist. I agree. I'm a pharmacist, and so any drug interaction questions, probably right. Call your pharmacy. Speak with your pharmacist, actually, because I'm not even really legally allowed to give you specific medical advice because you're not under my care. Great comment, Glenda. Love that. There's Heather. Right on, Heather.
All right.
All right. Well, I feel like we're missing something. I really do. I mean, I want to dig more into the terpenes and get really more into it, but honestly,
that would take a long time.
I would take a long time.
A lot of them, but like you said,
Google them. I think we covered the big points of it. If you guys have any other questions, you're certainly welcome to follow up with an email.
Yeah.
We'll try to get back to you. All right. Well, it's a Monday, and I hope you guys have an awesome day and a very productive rest of your week. We'll see you back here same time next Monday.
All right. Get your CBD. Oh, we didn't go over the prices.
What? Oh, well, do you want to?
Yeah, always.
Oh, okay.
Give me
Get tear into it.
Give me a second.
We don't have it memorized.
Do you?
Let me get rid of this real quick. There we go. No, I mean, the prices can't be beat. That's what's crazy. When you look at the quality, and by the way, GVB Biopharma is the actual raw ingredient supplier for those of you who have wanted to look at their website and learn a little bit more. They do extensive testing on the raw ingredient. We do extensive testing on the raw ingredient we receive. Then we test our final product before you even get it. And the state of Florida has pretty stringent rules on testing, so we're good there.
So the 750 milligram, $18 for members, $28 for retail. Crazy. I mean, if you other companies, I'm sure, especially if you've been using CBD, I mean, paying $100 to $150 to $200 for a single bottle. How are you supposed to use that on a routinely basis to actually improve your endocannabinoid system? That's more like you would use it sparingly because you don't want to run out of it and have to buy another $200 bottle of CBD oil again.
Sure.
And then the $1,500, $26 for members and $36 for retail. Again, I mean, huge savings. And I lost the pet. It was right there. And then the pet CBD, again, just comes in the 300 milligrams. And that one is $14 for members and $22 for retail. So again, it allows you to take this every single day as you're supposed to do to help make a difference in your body.
And finally, on the pet CBD, make sure you follow the weight dosing guidance that is on the label, please. That is not just a dropper full like it is, like typically you would with the humans. So please follow the weight-based guidance.
Yeah, good point.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy your Monday, and we'll chat soon.
See y'all. Take care.